Welcome to Soul Therapy with Chelle. I am Chelle Griffin and I practice as a soul doula. I combine therapeutic knowledge and lived experience with a healthy dose of spiritual exploration. Feel welcome to join me as we learn and grow together, exploring the magic and wonderment of experiencing life on earth as a spiritual being. Well, hello, welcome to a new episode of Soul Therapy with Chelle. We're going to mix things up a little bit. I've decided to introduce a monthly episode where I review a book that is relevant to the work that I do that adds value to my life. And hopefully by sharing a book and not so much reviewing it, just sharing what has resonated with me and what's come up and what I feel may be helpful for others to know about a book. It could save you from having to read in your busy schedule, or maybe it will inspire you to pick up a book and dive in and expand your own awareness. You may know that I co-host another podcast called Between the Lines with the beautiful Leanne, psychologist and my dear friend. And we have such fun chatting to authors and reviewing books. So if you are a bit of a bookworm, head on over and check that podcast out as well, the same place where you found me. And so for today, the book I'm going to be reviewing is called The Ancient Women of Lemuria. It was written by Monica, how do I pronounce her surname? Monica Moriani and Dr. Amber Wolf. And they are both, they've collaborated and they have included a lot of the channeled messages from Kryon, who was channeled by Lee Carroll. So they've combined those channeled messages with additional research and put this absolutely beautiful book together. I just felt like this book was a coming home. It just really resonated on so many levels for me. I had my Akashic records, like origin reading, done by mentor that I've worked with over the past few years, Shananda Scott, who wrote or channeled the new angel messages, which I've also chatted with Shananda often about her book and her teachings. I've learned so much from her. And in one of my sessions with Shananda, she shared my origin and said I was connected. My origin was the Pleiadian and Arcturian celestial beings. And I remember feeling a little bit disappointed and going, oh, but I think I'm from Lemuria. I just have this pull to Lemuria, not knowing what Lemuria is necessarily about or where Lemuria is based and timing. And over the last couple of years, I've come to learn more. And the women of ancient Lemuria and their wisdom really felt like a homecoming for me. I have this strong sense that I had a lifetime in Lemuria, that I was seeded through the Pleiadians, came through the Pleiadians into Lemuria, and that I had this peaceful lifetime. And a theme for me in this lifetime has been seeking or craving a feeling of peace. And immediately when I hear any reference to Lemuria, that generates this stillness within me and a calm sense of peaceful being. So I was really, really curious to read this book. And basically, Monica and Dr. Wolf share about the balance of divine feminine and divine masculine in Lemuria, and how balanced these energetic forms were, and how vastly different the world we live in today is, that it's very out of balance. The divine masculine is as we know, it's a patriarchy. They're running the show. And this book is this beautiful invitation to awaken that rebalance and bringing back that harmony, not swaying it in a different direction. There was no malice in the discussion about disharmony that exists. It was more inviting both men and women on our planet today to reawaken the respect and the honouring of bringing both the divine feminine and the divine masculine back into a sense of beautiful harmonic order, and sharing their wish for the people of today, you and I being those people, to rekindle that remembrance of the original Akash given by the Pleiadians. They say their intention is for women to remember their sacredness, claim it as their truth, and become a living example of compassionate mother energy. And a way that they do this is offering Lemurian sisterhood circles, which predominantly happen in North America, South America, and Canada, being North America. And that's this gentle growth and expansion that's happening, and women are coming back to themselves and honouring ritual and the wisdom. One thing that really sang true for me that was shared in the book early on is that the life was very simple, in harmony with nature. The men would go off fishing and the women would prepare the like fruits and vegetables and the land food, and harvest that and bring that together. But then when the men came back with their catch, the women weren't given that catch to prepare for the families. Like, it was a joint effort. The men were there was pride in the ritual of catching and sourcing the food, and they would bring that back to their community and they would prepare that food. And so that was this beautiful balance of the women had their ritual with the land food in their preparation, the men had their ritual, and it was this beautiful coming together and celebrating as family, honouring the land, feeding each other, and it was all fresh, and they, ate what they needed, and then the men would rely on the wisdom of the women, because the women could read the stars and understand direction. And so they would provide the men with guidance on where to go to get their catch. So it wasn't this male-dominated leadership. It was a co-created process of community. Everyone had their roles. Look, of course, there would be moments of disharmony and people wanting to be more of a leader or not, but the general principle was one of community. And I think that's what our planet is really discovering is lacking in today's present times, that there is this hunger for dominance, for power and control, and it's coming at the expense of those that are less fortunate. And that could be because of where they live or their economic. It could come because of simple things like the country they've been born into, the colour of their skin, their gender, their sexual preference, where they live, how much they earn, the education they have, like all these factors that just didn't really exist in that time. It was, yes, one of survival, but one of working with nature and honouring nature, respecting the land on which they lived, one of equality, compassion, sacredness and remembering their soul purpose, like who they are and why they were here. They were here to feel that consciousness. It's said that the Lemurians were the first forms of human to experience consciousness and connect in with their higher self and start to remember. The deepening of emotions occurred, which I just found really fascinating to read about. What I also found really interesting was the location of Lemuria. And it's said that Lemuria is known to have been what we now know today as the Hawaiian Islands. Yet it was this plateau that was like, I think they said around 1,600 miles. So that's over 3,000 kilometres in length. These Alps, basically, that at the time were known to be the highest mountains in the world. And there was an earthquake, volcanic eruption, which, that's playing out around the world today. Absolutely. Mother Nature is on fire and spewing forth and releasing and cracking open in that metaphorical way. We are just having everything ripped open. It's all coming to the surface and we're being urged to face, those depths that we have not wanted to look at in our lifetime or many, many lifetimes. So this big earthquake happened and Lemuria, as it was known, there was a big tidal wave from surrounding these mountain ranges and a big bubble of lava formed beneath the mountains. And then over time, that lava softened and the mountain started to sink as the waters rose. And the Lemurians had to leave in boats and go off to far, like based in that sort of ring of fire in the Pacific, and went off to the North Americas, the west coast of America, the coast of South America, and then off into Russia and the Middle East, not the Middle East, Asia, and then into Europe. And it's also said that in the book that the first Australians were the closest and most earliest civilization that best represented Lemurians, which just made so much sense to me after being at Uluru earlier this year and seeing the landscape and feeling the sacredness of those sites and the wisdom. The energy was just palpable. And learning about Indigenous practices and how deeply connected they are to spirit and the land and work in harmony with both. Very, very similar to the experience that was shared in the book of how Lemurians existed. So this book really touched me. The authors shared practices and rituals of Lemurians, so solstice. This is going back thousands of years, and these solstice practices and birthing rites and rituals and coming of age rituals and the elements of fire and water and wind and earth and air and all coming together. And I just was constantly feeling like this book was activating light codes being downloaded into my field. And there was just this beautiful sense of peace and harmony that, on those days when you're the busy human mum trying to wrangle a schedule and be everything to everyone, coming back and reminding myself I've chosen to have an human experience at this particular time on the planet, and that I am connected in oneness to every other being on this planet. I'm connected in oneness to the grass beneath my feet, to the raindrops currently landing on the trees outside my window, to the clouds in the sky, and, to the moon that I've been kind of a little bit stalkerish with this week. The full moon has moved into Aquarius, and it's really activated something deep within me. And I've been obsessively trying to get photos of the moon since I was a very, very young girl. Thankfully, technology and iPhone can capture the moon much better than what my little old Hanamax, I think it was called, when I was a teen. So I keep coming back to that and remembering there was a lifetime that I felt utter peace and joy and calm and a sense of completeness. And no matter what goes on for me in this lifetime, in this world, when I hear of all the destruction and violence and disharmony that is happening on our planet at the moment, it moves me. And whilst I do not have any physical control over that, I can meditate and make changes in my own little corner so that there is a ripple effect of love flowing outwards as well as internally as well, and supporting myself. So I really urge you to pick up this book. It's a really beautiful way of activating that curiosity for previous lifetimes, imagining. It may sound a little bit wacko to some, but imagining a time when you're in another body and a different person, a different being, but the same soul, same spirit, which is connected to source always. I hope you enjoy this book as much as I did, and I'd love to hear your comments and feedback. And thank you. Thank you for showing up for yourself by listening to Soul Therapy with Chelle. Feel welcome to subscribe to my podcast, share the pod with your friends, family, colleagues and neighbours. And please, if you are willing, I would absolutely love a 5-star review to give my little pod a boost in the algorithms. For further detail on how to work with me, please visit my website, www.chellegriffin.com, or find me on the socials. I hope you'll join me on my next episode. Till then, go gently and intentionally. With care, Chelle.